Well, hello. Welcome back to Coach Peggy Real Time, real people, real problems, and real solutions. Yes, we actually do have some solutions. This week, we have a guest. Walt is here to talk to us about 168. 168 hours is all we have in a week, and a document that he learned from season 1 and that I'm using here in season 2 is something that it's just like his little Bible. He's going to share with us why it means so much to him. Plus, we're going to find out what in the heck did these guys do without red meat, without pork, that experiment that they did. They also did some self-care stuff. They had to do 2 things this week that they hadn't done before. And remember Sam's 10, spark plus actions plus motivation equals success, and the 10 rules of setting goals. Let's see how they did. That's a lot. That's a lot. Aren't you excited to see how they're doing? I hope you did something with us this week. Maybe you didn't have any dairy either. Let's see how these guys did. Let's hop in. Welcome to Coach Peggy Real Time, real people, real problems, and real solutions. How are you guys doing?
Very well. Very well.
Very well. Good. You're all looking. I know you guys didn't all watch last season, but it is pretty cool to look at like even the way people sit up or their confidence or their coloring, or their haircuts and shit. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's get this party started. This week, you guys, we're going into week 7. So really, things are moving and shaking. And I know a lot of you are doing countdown things like you do for Christmas. Like when this is over, thank God, like we have however many days left. Get it? Me too. No, I'm just kidding. But we have a guest coming today, and it is Walt Smith from season 1. And he's going to talk to you guys about the document for 168 hours. And that's when we originally started talking about, hey, it's really hard to set up a goal if we have no clue where we spend our time. We have 168 hours in the week, so he's going to come chat about that. I thought we would kind of get kicked off with just maybe catching up on some of the nutrition stuff we chatted about last week, and then when Walt leaves, we'll get caught up on the rest of the shit. Okay? So last week we talked about going with our 10-hour windows, and if you guys are deciding to button that, pull that in and play with it, just make sure you really pay attention to if you are truly hungry or if you are getting dizzy or cognitive issues, especially on workout days, and make notes so you can see. So if you wanted to play with a 9.5 or 9 window or 8.5, you can, obviously, you're big girls and boy, you can play with that. So I wanted to remind you about that. And then you took a piece a look at your logs, and it was ever so cute because Walt, who's not on the show yet, Troy.
My name is Troy.
It's Walt Smith.
This is one of my days. Troy and I were chatting.
Troy, Roy, whatever.
Troy, Roy, I tell you what. Roy, well, I don't care what you call me. Just call me. I'll tell you, it's conversation with something like this. Coach, I'm really sick and tired of you. Actually, he said, I keep track of my food in my Fitbit, and now you're asking me to tell you what my average calories and protein, carbs, and fat is. And like, girl, and I'm like, dude, I don't care if you keep it in MyFitnessPal, but I asked you to keep it on your log. So
no, that was it. So I did it on my logs, but I didn't do it as detailed as I need to. So I went back into MyFitnessPal to get the details, and damn, it sucks working backwards because I didn't do it the right way the first time. That's all I was saying.
This is me not giving a shit about what you say. No, but that's a really good point, right? But look how much you learned and how quickly you did it. You are a little bit of a teacher's pet in a way, because when you figure out you need to perform, snap, you get it done. Got to be careful of that. You might be an 11th hour dude. Are you gals that way when you know you have to perform in the 11th hour, you get shit done? When you have a meeting like Friday and you put it off and then you pull shit out, then midnight, you get it done. All right, so this week you guys took a look at the average calories. I asked you to look at a couple of days for a few weeks, and what are the average calories I'm really eating, the average grams for protein, carbs, and fat. And we just want to let everybody know out there that you just don't pick those numbers. I mean, you can pick them. Am I in slow motion?
A little bit, yes.
So you guys that are listening at home, just know that it's easy to look online and get a formula for 40% carbs or 25% protein or whatever. But if you aren't trying that and you don't know what you're doing, it can be crazy. Right, Rita?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I know, you guys. I'll tell you, Miss Rita, I'm just going to say it like it is. Rita is one of those people who I'm going to have to get to eat more. Troy, do not interrupt. Okay. Because we really have to amp up her calories and to make sure she's eating the right things. Because, right, you're pretty darn low. So we played with your numbers. We played with Faith. We've now played with Troy because you don't know what you don't know. And even with Troy, in all honesty, we're playing around, like we said last week, to get those fats healthier. And the protein, it's really hard to keep that high protein with certain plans that you're on, because with that comes some unhealthy fats. So we just want to let everybody know that we're continuing to work on that. And did anything fall out when you looked at that, Troy, where you were like, what the hell?
Yeah, it definitely was higher in unhealthy fats than I thought. I don't think I was eating enough of the right combinations. I don't think I was eating enough. It's one of those things that, I felt like I was, but until you actually delve deeper and look at the numbers and really honestly know, I thought I was doing okay, and I wasn't. Obviously, I was not where I thought I was going to be, number wise.
Yeah, I get you. And it depends on what you do eat, right? You guys, 2,000 calories is 2,000 calories. 2,000 calories of salad is healthier for you than 2,000 calories of bacon, but it's still 2,000 calories. So we need to think about that. That is the energy source. Faith, you're doing really good on your macros. Did anything fall out when you took a piece of that you either a peek at it, you felt good about it, or you're like, whoa?
I did feel good about it because I think I've nailed sort of the macros. The main thing I noticed is I'm not eating enough calories in the morning. I'm eating sort of my main calories is around lunchtime, and then sort of having small in the evening. So it's trying to find ways to possibly have a bigger meal in the morning, right? Which I'm not quite sure how that looks just yet, but I need to have a look at it.
And if you guys get really full, it's okay to break some meals up, not eat what somebody else says is a full portion. I'm not going to eat a full cup of oatmeal in the morning with everything else in it that everybody else puts. It's just too much for me. So an hour later, I might finish it. All right. And then this week, we also talked about excluding and playing around with no red meat, no pork, and no dairy. Now, again, doesn't mean that I want to instill black and white behavior, but we do experiments to see how it feels. How did it go, Troy?
First, right off to me, yeah. Let's just hit me with both barrels on everything that I normally have. So, yeah, I know. It was tough, especially being on the road, because a lot of the snacks and stuff that I would have would be cheeses and a lot of that type of thing. And it was tough. And you messed with my coffee. How dare you mess with my coffee? That is the one constant that I've tried to keep, but I did it. So.
And the good thing about it is when we bring some of this stuff back is even some of the elation out of this, just going, that is the freaking best cup of coffee now that I brought back, my half and half, that you might make shifts in other areas. Like we talked the other day about how condiment creep, right? You guys, a lot of people don't remember to log what goes down the tongue or even chew gum has calories. That has to be written down. A lot of people think they're having like maybe 2 tablespoons of ketchup and it ends up being a cup, quarter cup, whatever, not cup. And then a lot of people don't count creamer in their coffee. So how did you do with the reduction of dairy, Faith?
Not great.
This is me texting our guest, telling him to wait in the green room. We could be a while. How did it go?
This week has been really tough, really, really tough. And
I gave up. I'm texting him. I stopped until keep going, my love. I'm listening. I've got Jesus on direct diet. Jesus.
No, I gave up smoking last week, and
wait, stop! Drop the phone. We just quit smoking. Jesus. Okay.
And I've been going through nicotine withdrawal, and one of the symptoms is I've gone from I was sorting out my appetite to just literally feeling hungry 24/7, to wanting cakes, to wanting bread, to sort of craving all the really sort of not great foods. So by the time I got to Thursday, I was like, I want ice cream. So I had ice cream. I was like, stuff it. This is what I want, so I'm going to have it.
Yeah.
So.
Faith, okay, we've got to back up because, you know, dolphins and Faith Pierce tend to slide right over things that they need to get credit for. So you quit smoking, you cut. Could we just say something about that?
Well, I
this is where you speak, Faith. This is a microphone.
I stopped smoking.
How long and why did you reduce, and how are you feeling about that? Why'd you do it?
I started smoking when I was like 15. I'd stopped smoking tobacco about 2 years ago, but I switched to vaping, and I was vaping every day. And I'd have to say I've given up a few times before, but this has got to be sort of the worst sort of symptoms that I've had. And I've been feeling really bad brain fog in the morning, where I can't concentrate, where I've just been completely drained. I've not been sleeping well. I've had all different sorts of cravings. I've been irritable to the point where I'm just sat there thinking, I want a cigarette, and I've got to keep myself busy.
Wow.
And just having arguments with myself to say I'm not doing it. And it's been really challenging.
What number day is this?
This is number 9 now.
Me, I'm so proud of you guys. Rita, what do you think?
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. And I can imagine all those, like you said, those cravings that come into play. The mind really does a number when you're trying to focus on giving up something, and then all this other stuff kind of comes from behind, and it's a battle. It's a battle.
It just really shouts.
You're doing great. You are doing great. Hey.
Yeah. All of those things, those withdrawals are from everything. Every single cell in your body is screaming legitimately with this decision, this loss. I mean, look at her face. She's just like, oh my God, I'm frozen in time.
Well, not only that, but the habit aspect of it, the mental part of it is huge. And I did the same thing, several years ago, and the mental side of it, just that repetition, the habit, all of that is just as bad as the physical aspect of it, if not worse.
Yeah,
that's huge. Great job. That's
so
amazing.
Proud of you. Oh my gosh, that is so exciting. Look what a little bit of less red meat can do. Quit smoking. God. Cuts down on dairy and it makes her quit vaping. Coach Peggy, real time. Oh my God, this is okay. So then, let's just back the bus up. Rita, how did you do with exclusions this week? Did you struggle at all?
Honestly, that one, it's that mental thing that I think we've all talked about, when you're like, you can't have this or do without this. And all of a sudden you're like, that sounds good. Because like in previous weeks, I was having like string cheese with an apple or almonds for snack. So we took that away, and I'm like, now what do I have with it? But I would have my almonds and I would have my apple. So it was a mind over matter type of thing. But Monday, Tuesday, but by Wednesday, it was like, it didn't even bother me anymore. I was fine without it. So
I could even take away things you guys hate, and our brain would do the same thing. I could ask you, oh my gosh, what's the food that you dislike the most? One of you could say eggplant, cherries, whatever. Okay, you can't have any eggplant or any cherries this next month. And your brain would the next day go, eggplant. I mean, I've never really tried it. I mean, it just is so psychotic how we do that. All right, good job. And then we also, I want to stay just around the inclusion, exclusion, even though the inclusion was not about food this week. It was about 2 self-care things. Adding 2 self-care things that potentially you hadn't either done for a while, which is perfect for Faith, because actually quit smoking is a really big self-care thing. But what did you do this week in regards to self-care? And don't tell me it was your ice cream on Thursday.
I planned it to do a few different things.
Okay.
One of them was sort of paint my nails, sort of do like a foot bath type thing. And I tried my nails. I did it and I hated it. It was the whole sort of sitting there, not being able to move.
You're pissed off.
I was like, I don't like this. But I did manage to sit at the table, and I haven't sat at my kitchen table for about a year and a half. So that was sort of a huge thing for me this week, to actually sit down properly and have a space to eat. So I've been sort of looking at the way I frame self-care and things that I do for myself, rather than sort of the atypical.
Yeah, make your place, candles, placemats, mindful eating. That's definitely taking care of yourself. Troy, how did that nail painting go for you this week?
It was fabulous, absolutely fabulous. No, I went home last weekend for vacation for a few days to go see friends and family, and you don't think of that necessarily being a health or a self-care kind of thing, but barbecue at my best friend's house on Saturday was amazing, because you get to see people you haven't seen, and it was awesome. And then Sunday, actually, I went up in the mountains and sat by a river for an hour and just did nothing. Just
That's
stopped.
Huge.
And it was amazing. It was amazing. So.
Well, in quality time, we're going to be talking about love languages here in a little bit. And quality time is your first love language. And so that quality time with friends and social life and spending time with people will fill your cup back up. And using quality time love language on yourself, which is what we'll be talking about, is quality time by yourself as well, out in nature, doing whatever you enjoy. Rita, what about you with your inclusions of self-care? How'd that go?
Self-care. So I kind of did a little home spa type thing, the foot bath, the facial, kind of a little spa treatment for my hands. No, I didn't paint them because, like Faith, I can't sit still long enough for them to dry. So, but the other thing I did too is I did some one-on-one family time with my sisters. So, I mean, that was really nice just to catch up, because even though we all live here, we don't get together very often, and everybody's kind of pulling in different directions if they've got their kids or grandkids around them. So it was just all 4 of us girls together and kind of watched a movie, but most of the time just chatted, catching up, what's new, what's going on,
Two bears.
So, I mean, it was a good time. Yeah, it was a good time.
Fun. Good times. All right, let's go through the fitness stuff real quickly, and then we'll have Walt come in. So we talked about FID, F-I-D-D, frequency, intensity, duration, and diversity, was just a concept that I want you guys to think about. We get really mundane with our food, and we actually do with exercise. And we tend to do the same things over and over. And it is really hard to push ourselves for our own intensity. It really is to go, keep going and sweat more. But we talked about that concept. All I really want to know is, did that pop into your head this week whatsoever? Faith, when you were working out, any thoughts? Did that pop in?
Absolutely. I get really bored really easy with exercise. So for me, it was trying to do something different. And also for me, it was about changing it. So on the mornings where I was like really, really tired, trying to do something different and look at possibly doing sort of the exercise video on the night time. And by the time I got to Friday, I said, I'm having a day off. It's like, I need to sort of actually just rest. And then I did more on the Saturday to catch up my steps and went for a nice walk. But it was about having that balance and flexibility.
We were supposed to do 10,000 steps this week average. Raise your hand if you got 70,000 steps in this week.
I will have.
Boy, I swear to God.
I was on the road.
On your road, marching your goddamn hotel room. DEFCON 5. Nope, that's a double bullshit.
Now, that ain't even bullshit. That's horseshit.
Not only bullshit, but horseshit, too. I like that one.
Let's just talk about myself for a second. I had a challenge once to do 20,000 steps in a day, which I said was absolutely ridiculous, but it was a 1-week challenge. I was outside at midnight trying to get those steps in, up and down these stairs. Come on, Rocky. Jesus Christ, you got to fly. You traveling. All right. Rita, you better come up with something if you said no.
I did. I was actually getting between 12 to 13, but I can also say too that 9:30 at night, I'm walking throughout my house trying to get those last few
steps. No, that's right. Yeah, it's not sustainable long term. Yeah, it's not. I just was trying to push you over the edge.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it worked. It worked. I mean, there was one day that one night my goal was 12,000, but I was lucky to get the 10. But that's when I was like, kind of like doing a walking, jogging type thing up and down the hallway in my room. I'd step outside, run around the yard. Thank goodness it was dark. Yeah. But I got those 10,000 that night. So.
Good job. All right, before we bring Walt in, I want to just let you guys know that we're going to be talking towards the end of the show today about setting goals. My Sam's 10 worksheet, SPARK, plus action plus motivation equals success, and then there's 10 rules. So part of that and figuring out a goal that works for you is the 168. You know, figuring out the time that you have to do these goals. And we are going to revisit your first month, 6 month, and 1 year goals one more time, just to make sure, and then work through the document together, just so you know that that's what we're going to be doing. So I don't, I got to find out where Jesus is right here. Let me introduce you real quickly, and then you're going to take the stage here. So you guys, this is Walt from season 1. He was a cast member, and he was very successful. And it was right here is his major. That was your journey, most of your journey. Tough year last year. He had a lot of personal and professional things going on. I mean, a lot of people did, but Walt really got hit hard. And he is here to talk about one of his favorite tools ever. 168 wellness hours. Hey, Walt.
Hey, Coach. How are you guys? So they've got their 168. They're working it.
They did their 168 initially. You know how that falls out where people are like, oh my gosh, I spend that much time on TV or whatever. They've done some shape shifting and trying to figure out, you know, where they're fitting the goals for right now. We're getting ready to introduce to them Sam's 10 today.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
Oh, Lord. And so 168 is a big, so that'll be coming back to them and really figuring out how they're going to build those goals in around the amount of time that they spend. So how did the 168 help you?
Well, it did a couple different things for me. For me, it's really a two-phase tool. One, you know, I'm sure Coach is preaching to you about data. Get as much data as you can. So it allows you to truly see where every minute of your day is spent, if you're honest with it. You have to be honest with it. And data that you gather from it is useless unless you apply it, think about it, and are honest with it. But you really find the holes in your life and your days when you think, oh, I don't have time for that. Or, oh, I work so hard, or I spend so much time doing this, or it's cooking is too hard, or prepping food, whatever you feel that you don't have time for, you'll really find out where those holes are. For me, one of my issues, I'm kind of a workaholic. So it was critical for me to really track how much time am I actually working versus the time that I think I'm working. And that can be a big difference. And then you have to be realistic about your times and things, like going to the grocery store. You know, you got to count your driving time, the time that you're in there, the time that you're unpacking the groceries, when you're counting out how much time you spend with food each week. There's just so many little hidden minutes that you either think you don't have or find out that you do. Either one, it can go either way. So just the information that you get from doing it properly is eye-opening. But I've taken it a step further, and I use it as my planner. And it also has really helped me when holes get punched in it. Okay, this didn't go as I planned. Now what am I gonna do? Because I see what I have left for the week, and where am I gonna pull something out to make up for something that just happened? You know, unexpected stuff happens all the time. I take that tool, and Sunday night, I will write down what I think it's going to be. I know what day I think I'm gonna go to the grocery store. So I kind of write to the one side of the box. And I know, I think I got grocery time here, or food prep on Sunday evenings here, how much time is that going to take? Or work on this day, 8 hours on Monday, or 4 hours on Tuesday, 8 hours on Wednesday, but Monday turns into 12 hours. So where am I going to pick up those 4 hours off everything else? So if you kind of use it as a planner, it really helps you get you through those times when things aren't going right. Because when you have a plan and it doesn't work, people have a tendency to kind of go, oh, my plan's falling apart. Oh God, what am I gonna do now? And then you just give up. Oh, why bother? Why bother? I'm behind, it's not gonna happen. I'll do it next week. I'll fix it next week. But this gives you a tool day by day to figure out, okay, this is what happened. This is reality. I need to pick up an extra 4 hours somewhere. I'm gonna take it away from my time with friends and family. I'm gonna take it away from whatever time I have budgeted for TV. Where am I gonna find it? Or maybe I can't work that much that day. Maybe I need to tighten up my work schedule a little bit, or take 30 minutes for lunch instead of an hour for lunch, or whatever the situation is for you.
How did you use it, Walt, in regards to when you came up with different goals? And so if you had a goal of starting a new business or losing weight or learning how to cook something, how did you use that to set you up for success for your goal?
It is critical that you guys use this tool once you get your Sam's 10 introduced to you, because that's a whole nother eye-opening experience. I'm not here to talk about that, but you've got to figure out some things in your goals, how it's gonna work. So you've got to figure out what you can pull away from. What time can you sacrifice to make this goal? Because we can all plan goals and hope things to happen, but one important step in making a goal happen is, do I really have the time and the resources to do this? And where's it gonna come from? One of the big things for me and mine that I will not sacrifice unless it's absolutely positively has to happen is time with friends. Like Coach said, I've had a rough year and I'm fighting some depression and some other things. So being social and with people is what's keeping me going right now. So that is non-negotiable for me. Unless something major has happened and some other part of the plan fell apart, I will shorten my time with that. I won't eliminate it. But the same thing with a goal. If you got a goal that you're working on and it's not going the way you think it is, the steps, you can identify with the Sam's 10 the steps that's coming up short, but you still have to make up time for it.
Right.
I think the biggest thing for me with this tool is really understanding time. And it sounds weird to say that. It's kind of, I don't know, what do you mean you don't understand time? But you really understand where your time goes and how you use it is completely different for me now. I look at every day differently with time.
Remember, Walt, you guys, in season 1, we had a cast member, Amy, who when she first filled out her 168, and it's really hard with health and wellness to tell the truth because we already feel like we're bad girls and boys and we're going to get in trouble. So it's really hard to, number one, tell the public, but even to tell ourselves. And so when Amy calculated how many hours she spent on TV, it was 80, okay? There's 168 hours a week. And one goes, how can that happen? Well, it was COVID. She was working from home, before she got the job at home, then at home. She's single, very little family around her. She was going through a lot of loneliness, and this isn't, confidential. It's in season 1. And it ended up, we called her TV boyfriend. We followed her TV boyfriend through the whole season. And as she broke up with him at the end, and she ended up down to, I think, 1 hour, 1 hour and a half max or something like that a day. And what fell out of that is, can you imagine the excuses? Like Walt helped her with cooking. And Walt would say to her, you're watching TV 80 hours. Of course, and we can find all this time to cook and this time to walk and this time to do this. But she would feel so defeated and so tired and everything was so cumbersome. But that was one of the things so these guys are getting ready to head into Sam's 10 and figure out some of this stuff. But Faith, what is your thoughts for Walt, or any questions whatsoever you have for Walt on anything? Hit it, Faith. Faith has been laughing a little bit. We got the giggles before you came on, Walt. This season has been a little giggly. Your season was a lot of tears. This season's a little giggle boxes. Faith, meet Walt. Meet Faith. Faith is from England.
I know, I love listening to Faith. I could listen to Faith all day. I love to listen to the Faith. She's just a bit of brightness in my day.
Rita, what about you? Any thoughts about Walt's journey or the 168?
So my question is, Walt, like, was it hard? Like coming from when we started the whole 168 that week, I never accounted for travel time, like to the gym and back. I never accounted for the time driving time, like to the grocery store and back. Um, Meal prep time. Like how hard was that for you to integrate all that? Like, were you going along and you're like, oh wait, I forgot to add all these hours in.
Yes, the
Because
first
that's
couple
something
weeks.
I'm still kind of dealing with.
Yep, the first couple of weeks, I just kept a little notepad with me, sticky pads. Anytime I would move from where I was, I would write down how long it took me to do whatever, whether it's go put a load of laundry in, well, that goes to house chores. Okay, that's 3 to 5, maybe 10 minutes if you have to sort it too, that you don't think about. So the first 2 weeks, I just noted everything I did. And then you have to incorporate those notes back in when you're doing the 168. And like I said, you got to, to me, everybody's different, but for me, you have to do it ahead of time. You know, it's more of a planning tool. Doing it after the fact, okay, maybe you can remember everything. Maybe you're honest with it. Maybe you forgot something. It doesn't really do you any good to try to sort it out afterwards. Any of these things, food logs, any of it, trying to sort afterwards, not the way to do things. Do it as you're doing it. I think the easiest way for you to get in the habit of it, and it won't take long because you'll remember next time you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to the grocery store. I need to count the time, or just make a note, punch it on your phone, put it in your notes section on your phone, anything. It's all about data. I mean, that's what Coach keeps saying. It's all about data. And the more you have it, and if you can turn that into a planning tool, it really will help you get through the holes that get punched in it.
And once you get the basics, like going to the grocery store and coming home, truly same grocery store, same type of groceries, it takes an hour and a half, whatever. But that is, part of why I put the 168 together is that people used to say to me, I work out 3 hours a week at the gym. And I'd say, okay, so 6 hours are dedicated to working out. And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, how'd you get there? And you talked to Sally at the front desk and then you showered and then and so it ends up being hours that then I can say back to them is that's why you're not achieving your goals and you're running out of time because you don't know where you're currently spending it. Troy, any questions for Walt?
Not a question per se, just I like the idea of carrying a little notebook or a little sticky pad. I had never thought about doing something like that to keep track of, when you leave, when you get there, what you're doing, as far as even like you said with laundry, I never even thought about that. That's a good thing to remember.
See, well, we can see how well they read the document since it's all written right on there, right, buddy? They're acting like, oh my God, that's so amazing. And no, they know it's on there. They just...
But you don't think about those couple minutes here and there. You don't think about it.
Absolutely don't.
You lose them very quickly.
Unless you have a housekeeper and a babysitter and all of that stuff, you're the guy. You guys are the ones doing them. You're doing it. Well, Walt, do you have any final words for these peeps as we thank you for coming?
Don't get overwhelmed with what you're doing today. We all three on our season, it is far harder than you ever thought to set a goal. I am still struggling with it, and I've talked to Coach about it. It actually put, I don't want to scare him, but it put me in a place where I'm afraid to set a goal. It's an amazing tool, but it will open your eyes to things that you've never thought about, that you've never ever thought about. And it's awesome. But you got to tie everything together. She's moving faster on you guys than she moved on us. Like she built to this little crescendo at the end that none of us saw coming. And she's way ahead of that with you guys. So all of these tools fit together like a jigsaw puzzle to make your life different. If you want to be different, you got to act different. You got to do something different. You can't just talk about it. So it's time to pay attention to what she's saying and time to act differently and be different. Heard something the other day, Coach. I forgot to tell you this. Heard something the other day. If you're not changing, you're choosing.
Ooh. Keep it simple, stupid. Love it.
If you're not changing, then you're choosing not to.
Absolutely.
You're choosing to stay the same. So it's good for everything. It's good for all your goals. So keep it up, guys. You guys are doing awesome. I've been watching. I'll continue watching. And just listen to what she says. You have a golden opportunity here with one of the best people in this industry ever. So Pay attention.
Oh, goodness sakes, aligned. Your check is in the mail. And you guys, we are taping their 6-month reunion show today, and it's going to air next week, a week from tomorrow. And so we will check in and see how season 1 is doing. So, all right, buddy. Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
That was good, right? That'll help a lot. I think that's going to help you guys a lot. It always helps when somebody's using something applicable to their life and they can come back and show that to you. All right. We're going to be using that faux show today. Hopefully he didn't scare you, because it's not scary, but you guys are moving faster. I told you guys that you are moving faster. Walt actually contacted me, I think after episode 1 or 2, and I think it had to be 2 or 3. And he was like, what are you doing to them? I'm like, what? They're like in week 4 for us. I'm like, yeah, I know, but they can handle it. All right, rewards and recognitions. We had talked about that. That's kind of our sticker gem type program that we've been doing. And I want to talk more about why we're doing that, because a couple of you are struggling a little bit to go, why would I bring any recognition to those things that I'm supposed to be doing anyway in my life and give myself a sticker for it? Like, that's ridiculous. Housekeeping, sticker, it doesn't make any sense. Well, the reason, and let's go way back to when we were little. We have been doing and using stickers since we were probably 2, 3, 4 years old. It's been that long. We got little stickers at home on the chores, on the refrigerator, when we cleaned our room or brushed our teeth or set the table. So we've been doing that type of tracking reward system for a really long time. Most of the time we were rewarded with food at the end of the whole thing if we did it well, or allowance or whatever. But then that moves all the way through school. If you do look at grade systems, that's still an effort equals reward. Participation awards even began to be given out to little kids in Little League, because it's like, hey, you showed up, you're positive, you're putting in some time, and even if you're not a stud athlete. So we've been doing this for a really long time. When you look at it as an adult, you can think about the sticker or the reward system as your actual job, right? Many of us are given promotions or raises based on, so this is absolutely not brand new. I don't need you to give yourself a sticker that you got up and went to work and every single day. But if you think about it, for some people, like if they have depression, that's sticker worthy. It sounds silly, but when you're looking at wellness and we're going ahead in this journey together and trying to set new goals and get healthier, you want to take a look at every single thing that you decide you need to embed and make healthier, get credit for, do it long enough. And once it becomes embedded, you don't have to keep track anymore. I mean, we don't have to get little stickers that we brush our teeth every single day like we did when we were a kid. It's embedded, it's over. A lot of people need to have stickers for drinking water, right? I drank 40 ounces of water today, boom. When it becomes part of your lifestyle, you can feel it when you don't. I mean, it's just embedded. So as we started this season with you guys, we started with this, and it did not matter whatsoever what I allowed you to decide what you would be keeping track of and saying, hey, good job, or hey, I didn't do this, or whatever. But all 3 of you have come back and said, it just seems really weird when I'm supposed to be eating well and I'm supposed to be exercising. And I just want to have you think about 6 months ago, were those part of your life? Were you eating well, right? Were you moving? Were you sleeping 8 hours a day? Were you drinking water? Were you winning at these experiments? Were you stopping other bad habits? No. So you have to reward yourself for the efforts you're doing, because why? When you get tired, you're going to want to quit. And you have to be able to, most people have high visual. We have learning styles we learned in the beginning, right? Auditory, visual, and kinesthetic. Most people really do well with some sort of visual. And you want to be able to see that you're doing a good job. If the scale doesn't show it and your measurements don't show it and the feels good don't show it, at least recognize what you're trying to do each day. So here is the results so far for you guys. And again, I would love to see at least a B, right? I believe that getting a B long-term for health and wellness is the best way to go. You can get an A, but not in every area. Teacher's pet, Rita, in class. Can't get an A at everything. Long-term, there are going to be some Fs, all right? But if you can get a B even for this, it's going to show that you can get a B on embedding habits. And guess what? Everybody is just about there. I'm going to give you a percent grade. So Faith has 162 out of 190 stickers, 85%. Rita, 158 out of 164, 96%. Troy, 112 out of 150 stickers, 75%. You just need to keep going back and saying, do I take this line item off and put another one on so that I can keep, it's the concept. Once it's embedded, find something else. Does that help at all when you think about a reward system? We're not used to it. We're not used to saying, you know, good girl, boy. But I want you to embed that long enough. It's like breakfast at 8. You know, some people breakfast at 8. All right, good job. We are going to talk about Sam's 10. We're going to do it in just a minute. First, I want to talk about your love languages. Let's do that really quickly. This is really, really important when it comes to health and wellness. Why? Because we do, as I've told you before, we do feel better when we have our own love language, which typically is learned really early on, and we do it for others. It makes us feel good until it doesn't, and then we bitch and moan and complain about it if we don't get it back. Okay, as an example would be somebody with an acts of service love language. They can get very frustrated even though they volunteered, they're a nurse, they do all these things. They still want to hear, Rita is such a great, she volunteers, she does, they want to hear that, and they want acts of service back. So let's talk about this for these guys. Number one love language for all three of you guys, primary, is quality time.
The reason I wanted to talk to you tonight.
Why are you wearing the turtleneck I got you?
Okay, yeah, about that. First of all, I hate turtlenecks.
Going to be easy to talk about in a second. And here's a difference in the secondary. So the secondary for Faith is acts of service. Secondary for Rita, words of affirmation. And secondary for Troy is touch. So I just want to go through spinning this on its head. When you do these love languages for others, you can read Gary Chapman's stuff out there. It's been out there for 25, 30 years. It now has love languages in the workplace and 5 love languages. He originally started it in church, in the religious sector, to have marriage counseling, those types of things. But they're out there for everything now, children and all of that. I'm asking you to turn it around to yourself. So quality time, how are you going to give quality time love language back to yourself? Sounds easy. It's going to be challenging. Acts of service, okay, acts of service love language, how are we going to give that to ourselves? Acts of service is faith. That one, I think, is one of the easier ones. One of the hardest ones, I think, to give back to yourself is words of affirmation.
Hey, sorry I missed your call. I was just calling you back to let you know that I love you and I miss you.
And that's Rita's second love language. It's tough. It's really tough. And words of affirmation can be one of the love languages that is the demise of most relationships unless they figure out how to talk about it. Because if you don't talk about it and say, I need to be told I'm smart and I'm beautiful, my house is clean and I'm a great grandmother at least once in a while, if you're in a relationship with somebody who's not, words of affirmation, I give you about 13 minutes to be married. Because it's just going to feel so cumbersome. You'll feel needy to them. You'll feel void from not hearing that. So words of affirmation are kind of tough on self. And then with Troy, touch sounds more, you know, a lot of people in all sincerity think of it as just a sexual type. Oh my gosh, touch is my high love language. But it's a lot more than that. It's cuddling, it's holding hands. It's just a hug from a best friend. It can be the touch of a blanket. It can be getting a cat. A lot of things when people have breakups from relationships, the first thing they want is a doggy or kitty. If you ask them, quality time and probably touch are their high love languages. All right, so let's talk about quality time just real quickly. Quality time is really important to those people that it is quality, not just time. You guys know that when you're sitting down with somebody watching a movie or whatever, and they're running their mouth or they're on this, you might not consider it respectful or quality time. You want quality, right? And you want somebody to listen to you. So think about when you flip that on yourself, think about what book, movie, food, location, whatever it is that you might want to do back to yourself to feel like you're giving yourself that love language. You have to determine what that is. Does that sound like it's hard to do, Faith? Quality time for self?
I don't think so. No, it's more actually just giving myself permission to have that time.
Yeah. Troy? you kind of got that with your walk this last week, getting outside.
Yeah.
Alone time.
Yeah. Just time to myself and really not doing anything. And that was awesome. And yeah, so that respect, it does seems like it would be pretty easy.
Yeah. And we're a little bit older. So sometimes when we get at the age that we are now, we like a little peace and quiet, a little downtime. I think part of it is allowing yourself to have the permission to do it. And when you feel void or you feel depressed or you feel emotional, one of your love languages are empty. Straight up. We need food, shelter, clothes on our back, and a sense of belonging. And a sense of belonging isn't the same as trying to fit in. A sense of belonging is feeling accepted and loved for who you are. So we need a sense of belonging. And if you're not loving yourself, as I say, how can you love anybody? How can you love me if you don't love yourself, real timers? Right, Rita?
Yeah, sure. You okay?
Since last week you called me a bitch. Troy, no, you didn't call me one, but I can be. All right, and then we want to talk about the last one. Again, for Troy, say the touch thing, let's just leave it at that, but just get a blankie. Touch is a tough one. I'm going to say it because I'm coach and we can talk about these things, but if you're in a male-female relationship, just going to say it, and the male has touch love language and the female's is low, there's a conversation to be had because that is a big void. And just vice versa. If somebody's huggy, kissy, touch, my guy, I'll say it to my guy isn't a big PDA guy. He doesn't it's not a big deal. Hold my hand or do, neither one of us are that. But you've been around couples that are like that, like get a room. They probably have matching love language or they just met that night in the drunk. I've never been there. Thoughts of using your love language back on yourself, Rita? What are your thoughts? With acts of service, hon, I want to say with you, I really do believe that that's one of the easiest because you can get a housekeeper or you can get someone to wash your car or you can get somebody to do something for you that feels like a service that can fill you back up. You have to be really careful with acts of service because you can feel good with volunteering and good with helping others and good to being the one that's always there, but you'll get pissed fast and void fast when you're tired and nobody's serving you back. Thoughts?
I kind of feel yes and no. I mean, just because I'm all, set in my ways, it's like I have that preference of doing all this stuff. And I've never been one to really receive compliments or, hey, you're doing a great job, keep doing it. It's like, okay, because I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So that's kind of where I'm like, kind of hits right on, but not.
Let's move to this lovely document that I'm talking about. So with Sam's 10, I want to talk first of all about your goals. So when we first met, intake sheet, you filled those out. I asked for your non-weight loss goals and your weight loss goals or weight goals. Some people have to gain, some people have to lose. And you guys are really continuing to do really well on the non-weight loss goals. You want to increase regular, activity, stable finances, improve energy, sleep more, clothes, wanting to fit. I think a couple of you wanted to be able to have confidence and stand up for yourself. And I'm going to go over the weight loss goals. Okay. The weight loss goals, we're going to have you relook at today because some of them might have been lofty. Does that mean that you're being bad girls and boys? No, it doesn't. It means that potentially the way you look at goals, you didn't take into consideration all the 10 aspects that you need to be really successful, right? So we're going to take a look at those again, those numbers again for you guys. Faith is we're all on a different journey, right? But I'm all about, we are public right now. So I'm going to share some stuff that is considered public. Faith may be on her 30th wellness journey, right? She may have a lot of mental muscle stuff she had to work on, a lot of emotional stuff. Rita might be coming off of a fitness, 5 years ago, performing bodybuilding competition. None of us know anybody's journey. None of us. But what I can tell you is when it comes to goal setting, Faith met her first and 6th month weight loss goal already. Okay. That's to be commended. Because why? That either means the timing is fan-freaking-tastic for her right now. It's a perfect time in her life to make these changes. Or all of a sudden, this journey means something like, whoa, this is the right time for me. For anybody else, it might take another 6 months. Don't care. We just want to make sure you're successful. I don't want anybody to continue to keep coming up shy. Okay? Hey, all you guys could get out of this today when we're done this session is to go, whoa, I didn't meet that goal because it was like 3 times as much as it should have been. Right? When I have people say they want to lose 30 pounds in the first month, okay. And you can't do that healthy. Unless you weigh about 500 pounds, you can't do that healthy. Okay. So we want to do this healthy. But I do want to give Faith the credit that she deserves in regards to her goal setting. Okay. She's still cracking me up. I'm going to behave. I'm not going there. Okay. Let's talk about Sam's 10. Hey, you guys, it's time to look at the All Things Wellness Sam's 10, a 10-step goal design. Acronym stands for SPARK plus action plus motivation equals success. You've done a lot of this work, so don't get overwhelmed. Take a deep breath. All of these test results you've already done. You're going to write in your love languages here, your chronotype, which is Dr. Bruce's test that you did on how your body sleeps, how you deal with cortisol and melatonin and blah, blah, blah. You guys know that. You guys you got 2 bears and a dolphin in the house. Left brain, right brain, learning style. Write those answers in here. Now we're going to talk about putting some stuff in here we've worked on over the last several weeks. How do you, over the history of you approaching habits, embedding new habits, how do you typically attack it? Are you a crawler, a walker, or a runner? Out of 100%, we're going to go over these to the left. You're going to write in here what percent of 100 that you are. Maybe it's 33, 33, 33. All right, what is a crawl? Remember, the goal is to be a little bit of each of these. That is ideal, is to know when to sit and crawl, to know when to walk, to know when to run. All right, a crawler. The sheer thought of many crawlers when it's coming to habits is the effort and motivation and accountability. All of those things that are required are exhausting and scary and sometimes doesn't seem worth the effort for the crawler. Maybe they've been defeated or discouraged in the past. They just can't get that umph. And sometimes we just don't remember that you need that motivation going from crawl and just rocking back and forth and going right into walk and run. So it can take a crawler a while. Will you get to go? Yeah, you might. It's going to take a little bit to get you there. And sometimes many crawlers will come up shy, give up, and sit on their ass again. Walk. A walker is more successful than the habitual crawler. The walker can still get to their goals. Think about somebody who walks every day. Yeah, they're still healthy. Absolutely. Tick, 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 going along, they're going to get there. Many times the walker doesn't realize that at times they could kind of push themselves. They could kind of run just a little bit. They could maybe become more diverse. Okay, so lots of times a walker can become complacent. And sometimes they do have to sit down and take a break. What about our runner? Oh my gosh, how many of you are runners out there? You're so attracted to a new idea, habit, your goals you want to just take off and start running. Maybe you want to get your PhD and you have not even thought about how many hours it's going to take or what money it will take, or you want to run a triathlon in a month and you don't even think about that. You are mindlessly sometimes choosing these goals, making the decisions and trying to embed these habits, and you're not going to be successful. That's why these are 10 steps. All these tests go down and we move through how you attack the habit. And now we're going to move into what your attitude is: passionate, emotional, or habitual. Yes, those are also eating behaviors or attitudes. Are you a passionate eater, emotional eater? But let's think about it in regards to habits. You're going to put your percent over here in regards, what's the percent of 100? You're going to put that over here. And then passionate attitude. Okay, what does that mean? These people use like their 6 senses. You guys, I've used before, thinking of a Mediterranean diet, all the different colors, different foods. Oh, how exciting. A passionate person will be very detailed and use all their adjectives and adverbs. And so think about how passionate they might be about a habit. Oh my gosh, you guys, and sit down. They're just all excited about it, right? They might dive in too quickly and not stay entertained. They need variety and they need to constantly be satisfied. When you're looking at the next one, an emotional attitude, ups and downs, roller coaster, seesaw. Sometimes they're disorganized. They procrastinate. Just like being an emotional eater, an emotional attitude towards habits is up and down, up and down. Sometimes it's a great day. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you fail. Oh my gosh. And it's frustrating, right? An emotional attitude is the most volatile and apt to not embed long-term healthy habits. Yikes. Habitual. Okay. Habits are the habitual person's gig. They are more likely to be a busy bee, keeping up to routines, efficiencies. That's their deal. They love that. But very habitual people can often miss diverse nutrients. They can get injured or sick because they're just ticking along. They get bored. They forget diversity in everything: social relationships, food, exercise. So what is perfect? A little bit of all three. Why would it be good to be part of the emotional attitude here? You don't want to ignore your emotions. When it comes to habits, you still have to deal with them. Don't suppress those suckers. All right, here comes a third rule out of 10, your character. Teacher's pet, pleaser, toddler. Percent, go ahead and put it over here. We've talked about this. Teacher's pet, you guys, you want the gold star, the hoop jumper, the firstborn, the perfectionist type. That is the character typically when it comes to habits. Oh, they're going to nail it. I want an A. I mean, there's no B's and C's and D's and F's for me. Oh my gosh, oh no. But just because you're ticking along and checking off a list and getting a star does not mean that you are doing any self-discovery, any introspection or awareness in order to not make these mistakes again. Teacher's pets, beware. Pleaser, tough. These are my nurses. These are my doctors. These are my moms. Everybody else goes first. Okay. They love to be, they'll give up their boundary for anyone. They'll give up their money. They'll give up their house. They're going to also give up their health and wellness. The best thing to do for people who are pleasers is to put them in group exercise classes or sports such as golf, softball, events like a 5K, cooking even as a family, and a really strong accountability person or team, right? They want to be able to report to people. You need to give them permission sometimes, the pleaser. Last one here is the toddler. Okay. We've all heard the temper tantrum, the terrible twos. Same thing with habits. I'll tell you what, they want to know the how, what, where, why, when, everything about a habit. They fight themselves. They fight me. They fight their doctor. They resist the rules. If you are a toddler when it comes to embedding new habits, it's probably just an excuse, or actually your goal is probably too lofty. Oh my gosh, better figure that out. You guys go ahead and write that in there. You know exactly what you are. Desire. You guys, if you don't succeed at your goal, you probably really never had a damn desire to do it. Don't write down 30-pound weight loss over and over and over and over again. If you haven't achieved it, you probably really didn't care. Can you get psyched up about 10 pounds? Yeah, maybe. So let's put 10. Desire. Maybe the desire is to paint the kitchen. Okay, that's the example that I always use, because this Sam's 10 document, you need to fill out for every single goal that you ever have, whether it's buying a car, new relationship, getting a new job, painting your kitchen, losing 30 pounds. It's the same process we're going through right now. What is your desire? So I want you to write it down, sit in it, look in it, feel it, close your eyes. Can you imagine achieving it? If not, sit in it, do it again, do it again. Can you imagine the amount of effort it's going to go into that goal? Do you have the desire? Number 5, attainable and doable. Remember that 168? That 168 wellness hours that you filled out in the beginning? How many hours you were spending on each individual line item of your work? How are you getting to and from work? Doing your groceries, to and from grocery? Those are minutes in your day. You have to figure out where you're currently spending your time, how you attack your attitude and your character towards habits. And that, I mean it. This is the most time that you need to spend to really think about it if it's attainable. Do not set a goal if you have not figured out if you have time to get it done. Number 6 is resource review. Big deal here. Almost nobody thinks about this. What is it going to cost you to run your 5K? Do you have entrance fees? Do you have shoes? Do you have clothes? Do you have a babysitter in case you need somebody to babysit while you're practicing for your triathlon every other day? Do you have the resources you need for this goal? Number 7 is accountability. Big one. A lot of people don't want an accountability team or person because they don't want to be accountable. They want to be able to have the flexibility to dash out of a freaking ass goal. This is a tough one. This is a tough love section. This is the data. And data doesn't have emotion. You collect this stuff and report this stuff so that you can get shit done. Be accountable, course correct. Go public. Yes, tell family, friends, social media, tell anybody that you possibly can what your goal is. You're going to be more apt to stick to it. Give them updates. Let them know how you're doing. Body composition tracking. Okay. Weighing every day, doing your circumference measurements, doing your metabolic rate if you have access to a device, body fat, photos, strength and endurance tests. All of that allows you to track your progress and make you accountable. Wellness logging. So you guys have been using my wellness log. And again, that has all sorts of different data points to be able to collect sleep hours, emotion, exercise, weight, nutrition, macronutrients, all that fun stuff on there. So you can see how you're doing on this goal. I mean, do you have enough energy every single week? No. Well, if you're logging all your stuff, you can figure out why. Fitness tracking. Use your iWatch, Fitbit, MyFitnessPal. Get those badges. Calendars, alarms. None of us can keep all this in our head. You going to run every morning, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday? Get that damn thing in your calendar, your alarm. Excel spreadsheet, Freakazoids. You guys love this. Some people love to track their data. Wellness to-do list. Sometimes you have to just really put it down, like a self-care list. Check, check, check. Video diaries. Talk to yourself, damn it. Talk to yourself. Grab your phone, grab your iPad. If you're having a bad day, talk to yourself. Save it into a folder. Come back in a week. Watch it again and go, man, I'm just killing it. Talk about your statistics, your stats, your emotions, testimonies. Vision boards. There's so many people that absolutely love vision boards. Go for it. How about putting on there your trending graphs or pictures of your goals, motivation quotes, anything if you're a visual person. Accountability buddy. Get somebody who has a mutual goal or somebody that can really give you support and somebody that can also be a badass to you. Having somebody that you report to, one person can increase your success rate by 65%. Add more people, up to 75%. Almost done. Rewards and unrewards. These are if and then statements, and they really work. If I do this, then I can do this. If I don't do this, then I can't do this. Self-rewards and self-giveaways. A lot of people say, oh, I don't need that, or I don't like it. Bullshit. Bull. Make it work for you. Okay? Use money jars. I'm going to give myself $5 if it doesn't even have to be just weight loss, right? I want to paint the kitchen. That's the goal I was using. Maybe once I paint the kitchen, I give myself $5. And when I do another project, I get another 10, 15, 20, and all of a sudden I'm buying some new running shoes. Please do not set up your reward based off food. I do not want you to say you're going to run a marathon and then attach it to, if I run a marathon, then I can have a bunch of pizza on a Friday night. You want pizza on a Friday night? Frickin' have it on a Friday night, but do not attach it to a healthy action equals unhealthy food. Okay. Last thing, clarity. We've got the 9th one and the 10th one. This is the last definition, the last thing that you have to answer in regards to making sure that this is the right goal for you. You're going to go all the way back up to the top. You're going to look at desire. You're going to look at attainability. You're going to look at all these things and make sure that it's really clear before you get ready to take off. And the last thing is you finally make a decision. Yes, I'm ready, going to go, rock and roll, assessed, designed. And as soon as this goal is done, you guys, guess what? You get to do another one. And if you have a bunch of goals, painting a kitchen, losing 50 pounds, buying a goddamn car, you're going to need one for every single goal. And you better make sure you have enough time on your 168. That's right. All right. When we go through that, let's talk just about that, Troy. Is that kind of shocking how many the thought process of going through a goal, regardless what it is?
Not now, because I did watch last season and I remember the Walt Pansy story.
Yeah,
it's hilarious. I was dying laughing listening to him doing it, telling the story, because it was just like, you don't think about how many steps are involved. And if ladies go back, I don't know what episode that was, but go back and watch it, because that will put Sam's 10 completely into perspective, 100%. And I remembered that, and it was just like, I'm going to plant pansies. And he's like, I had no freaking idea just what was involved to go plant pansies. It was priceless, and it was great.
It was a great example. Yeah, because he actually was, I think, driving out of the driveway, you guys, and he put off this goal. And his wife was like, kind of like, you don't have time for this or something. I think she was actually saying, no, you don't. He was like, yes, I do. I can do this. I'm just going to go grab this, this, and this, and then get this done, and then come home. And it turned into a shit show, because all of even the resources, right? You have to think about everything that's. Faith, what are your thoughts when we go through that Sam's 10?
No, I did see last season with the Sam's 10, so it makes a lot of sense. And I'm actually quite excited to start with it, because I'd already sort of reviewed some of the goals that I need to do. And it's almost like I need to deconstruct some of them and break it down into a couple of Sam's 10s, because I've got sort of some projects, there's more than one project in one, which I think is why I've sort of not started it, because it's felt so big. But I think if I can break it down into the different projects, that will sort of help me to do what I need to do.
Absolutely. And that is exactly what you need to do, is you have to have a Sam's 10 for every single goal. And I can't tell you how many people will set out and say, you know, I want to lose 10 pounds, and then not even think about all the things that happen right after that. Oh, and then I'm going to paint the kitchen, and then we got to put in a garden. And if you're Sam's 10, all of that, and then add family members, because they all have goals too, right? And you start looking at all of it, and you think, I only have 168 hours in the week. It's no different than a bank account. When the money's gone, the money's gone. When your 168 hours is gone, your 168 hours is gone. They go somewhere. So yeah, that's, Rita, what are your thoughts? You're very detail oriented and teacher petty. What does this feel like though?
Looking at it, it's kind of overwhelming, but like you said, we've already covered most of this stuff. But I think it's going to be a very, very valuable tool for other goals that I may want to set as well. Yeah. But it all boils down to time planning and making sure that my thought process, this is what I want. This is the time frame I want to get it done in. I mean, it'll take time. It'll take some time, but I'm excited to get to use it and put it to work.
Yeah, and just sit in it. And you might have to dumb it down, and your big Sam's 10 might have 10 Sam's 10s in order to get the big Sam 10, right? Because that can be a lot of what happens. It is the main reason, I will say, why people do not lose the weight that they think they want to lose in the time frame they say. If they would say 15 pounds instead of 30, oh my God, that would feel so good, and go through the Sam's 10, because the very first, several of the questions are, is there really a desire? You know how many people go, oh, I got to lose 15 pounds, so I'm just going to say 15 pounds. Do you have a desire to lose that weight? Is it clear? Do you know how you have to do it? Do you know whether you need to move more, eat better, sleep more? And then you will be successful every time, you guys, if you do this every single time, if you're honest with yourself. Yay. And this week, when we use the Sam's 10, I want you to start with baby steps. I want you to literally start crawling. So when I go through the homework right now, I want you to use the Sam's 10 just on one homework thing. Like, you're going to do the homework, but like break it down and just put one of the homework pieces at the top, whether it's exercise, nutrition, or we got an audit this week, and just go through so that you're not feeling guilty or like, I don't know what I'm doing with my own goal. Just pick one of the homework assignments and work through it, okay? So audit 5, we had done our bathrooms. Remember, we did our bathrooms. You guys did a great job. Nobody really had massive, like, whoa, bathrooms, but you did great. You audited it, got some things out of there you needed to donate, throw away, or whatever, maybe even buy some things. This week, we're going into a couple of other areas. Our vehicle, our car, and our emails. So that's what we are going to do. We are going to hoe out those cars and get rid of things. And it doesn't mean that everybody has a sloppy car, but I'll tell you what, a lot of people do. And so we're going to clean up those cars. And I don't need before and after pictures for this, you know, unless it's a really fun story and you want to show me. But the email situation is stop. If you need to unsubscribe to stuff, stop having 1,000. And when you have emails in there that you're hitting click, 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 or you look like you're defeated at the end of the day and not performing, it's a lot of it's because of those emails. Make some folders, get that shit off to the side, personal, professional, whatever they are, and get that stuff cleaned up and unsubscribe to a bunch of shit that you've had since AOL. When was that? 1995? AOL.com. What was before AOL? I don't even know. AOL is as far back as I can remember. Okay, so that's audit 6. And then Sam's 10, we're going to try one of those with this week's homework assignment. And nutrition, you're going to just keep doing. I want you to just try to stay as on track as you can with the current macros we discussed. You can also use MyFitnessPal. You can also use your wellness logs. The main thing with the logs is that's where the notes go on how you're feeling, how you're doing, all that those other components. For exercise, I want you to sweat daily. And I do not want you to pour water over yourself, because I can tell, and yes, it's happened to me. Can't have a wet shirt without a wet forehead and think that I'm going to buy that you were sweating. Okay. 4 times this week, I want you to post a picture that you're sweating. And sweating. And I'm taking away an exclusion this week is in fitness. And you're going to say, why in the hell are you doing that? And there's a reason, and I'm not going to tell you why. Walking, you're not walking this week. No walking. Now, does that mean you can walk and you got to go to work? Yes. What I'm talking about is that extra walking specific steps. And you can probably figure out why we're doing that. We'll talk about it next week. I want you to do remember your strength test when we first got together and you did your strength test, those baselines? I want you to do them one time this week so that we can see those new numbers and write them down. Let's see how you're doing. You may not have been doing this the whole time. Didn't want you to. But with the strength of other things, you should be able to push out an extra push-up, squats. So I want you to do that. And yes, there is a timed mile in there. I'd like you to do that. And you're going to write, we're almost done. You're going to write a love letter to yourself using your primary love language. Dear Peggy.
Whoa.
Dear Peggy. I love spending quality time with you. When we sit on the deck and drink coffee in the morning, looking at the fish slap themselves against the ocean's wave. But that's what you're going to do. It doesn't have to be elaborate, but you got to use your first love language back to yourself. Inclusion. Every single day, I want you to listen to music of a genre you're not used to. Might need to set an alarm for that. Might need to talk to Alexa. So if you haven't listened to jazz, you're going to listen to jazz. If you haven't listened to Western Indian drums, you're going to listen to that. So try to listen to some sort of different type of music every single day this week. And the last thing is our focus words. Woo! Show! Focus words. Faith, we didn't forget. Focus words. Did you literally just do that on your screen intentionally? Troy, did you see that?
I did. It focused. When you said focus, I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird.
I'm telling you what, I really am being banned from this planet because technology is just not even, my phone stopped ringing and now I'm saying the word focus and Faith is going in and out of focus when I say her name. All right, Faith, this week, you guys, we are using Q and R. So we're up to the letters Q and R. I'm going to start mine off and I'm going to use Q for quiet. Wish me luck. Troy, last week, what was your word last week? Do you remember? LMNO.
No excuses.
No excuses.
Oh, that's what it was. No excuses. That's right. That's right. Yeah, I failed at that miserably.
I should have had it written down.
Failed at that miserably. Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't text me. You're supposed to text me every time.
You're right. I didn't text you.
Well, it's all right. My phone wasn't ringing anyway.
Okay, yeah. So you wouldn't have heard me anyway. So no big deal. No. Okay, so yeah, I didn't do well with that one. So new one this week. I'm going with R, and I'm going with reset.
Ooh, I like reset. Reset. That means you cannot use the definition of insanity. Don't do the same thing. You get the same outcome. So different this week. Reset. All right, Faith. What your word was? What last week?
Planning. Last week. Sorry.
That went well, right?
Yeah. I had to adjust in some areas, but I think that was sort of quite a good learning curve for me to say, okay, sometimes you might set to do something on a Tuesday, but if you have to readjust, that's okay. As long as you get it done, that's more important.
Right. What are you going to do this week with Q or R?
My letter this week is R, and it's realistic.
Oh, man, that's really good. We got realistic. We got reset. What about you, Miss Rita?
So last week my word was optimistic. So I remained optimistic during the week that, get the exercise in, get the steps in, work on the food, the nutrition part. This next week I'm going with R, and that one is going to be reflect. I want to take some time to reflect from the beginning, even before this program started, to the beginning to where we are now. And I know I have ways to go, but I thought it'd take some time to reflect on how far I have come.
That is fantastic. I love that. Okay, so we're going to reset. We're going to be realistic, and we're going to reflect. Troy, final thoughts.
all go hand in hand with that. And it's kind of funny that we're all kind of at that spot where it's.
That's a really good point, actually.
Definitely time to do all of those things, reset and reflect. And I mean, it's just all of it. It's, you're starting to get around the circle, around the wellness wheel, and starting to kind of figure out where you're at and where you're not. So.
Excuse me. Remember I said to you guys we always have a honeymoon phase, right? Every beginning we get together, we're all excited, we're all organized, we're like, oh, hey. And then it does lose some of its momentum. And then I always see this when I run a series, about 6 and 8 week series, I always see a little bit of a hiccup about just over like about the halfway mark, right over the little bit of the halfway mark, where you can see a dip in everything. Whether it is participation or whatever their goal, if it's weight, they kind of are hovering or gaining some. So it's reset time. Yep. Faith, what are your final words?
I'm actually really looking forward to using the Psalms 10. Because I know that I've got quite a big goal that I want to sort of work on that I haven't started. I've sort of delayed it and it's been needed to go for quite a while. So I'm quite looking forward to sort of starting on the process to get it done.
When you guys do your Psalms 10, this week you're going to try it, as I said, with one of the homework assignments, right? So let's say you use car audit, okay? And it sounds simple, but the steps still conceptually, I want you to look at it. Is it desirable? Well, maybe not, but coach said I have to do it. So you go through, is it attainable? If it's a big job and you'd like to even wash and wax it and do the rims and maybe the inside, you've got food bags all over and you need everybody's goal is different with that. Same thing, car. Go down and look at it. You're going to need some money for a car wash. What are you going to need? You go it's the same concept. If you're starting to think already about your end goal, your August 22nd goal, when we finish this, that's another Psalms 10 sitting here. If you're starting to think about our 6-month reunion goal, which is right about Christmas time, that's another Psalms 10. If you've got a 1 year, so start to really think about what those look like. Make sense? Rita, last thoughts?
I'm excited. I'm excited to use the Psalms 10.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've got a couple other goals that I want to put into place. So I think this is going to be a great tool to do that. But I think this is going to be a great week. This is going to be a great week for all of us. We're going to reevaluate.
I feel it. When you guys look back at your intake sheets, just take a quick look. And when you look back at those goals that you set, the weight-based goals, I want you to just sit back and then think about the Psalms 10 and make a decision where those pieces were kind of missed. Was it a desire? Was it clarity? Was it hours? Was it whatever? Because that history of you setting goals, you've been doing it for a long time. You've been doing that same pattern for a long time because you might be a teacher's pet, or you might be passionate, or you might be a bear, or you might be visual, because that's all in these books, right? So if you're a lofty goal setter, and we're still talking in our 50s, 60s, 70s, and you keep telling me I can't do it, I can't lose the weight, and you've tried 50, 60 times, it's probably because your goals are too lofty or not desirable. All right. Till next time. I hope you're pulling in your little alter egos. Rocky, this week, Wonder Woman, Catwoman. I can't say it out loud anymore without laughing. I can't do it. I literally can't do it. When your prowling ass comes sliding out of your car this next week, in there, laying in the back window, collar on. All right. See you guys later. Bye. You've been watching Coach Peggy Real Time, a transformation coaching docuseries where each week the cast learns strategies and tools that help improve the quality of their life. And I hope at home you're trying some of the challenges and experiments as well. If you would like to be on upcoming cast for the next season, go ahead over to coachpeggyrt.com and find out some more information and apply. If you'd also like to be a part of our groups that are not public, you can find out that information there as well. hop on over to Coach Peggy Facebook community and please share with us there your journey and see how the cast is doing each week. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you next week.